Now, keeping with President-elect Joe Biden's team, some black lawmakers and activists are not that happy with his picks. But joining us now to discuss his leadership picks is one of the three co-founders of Black Lives Matter, Opal Tometi. As one of Bloomberg's 50 most influential people of 2020, Tometi's been active in social movements for 20 years. And before Black Lives Matter, she spent 8 years as executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, where she worked on reuniting families in the wake of the 2010 Haitian earthquake. Thank you so much for joining us, Opal, and congratulations on being part of the Bloomberg 50.
Thanks so much. It's a true honor.
Great. I want to start back with this racial reckoning we saw in America during the summertime. And for the first time, many Americans are seeing the economic effects of systemic racism and how this has happened for Black people for hundreds of years. Now, they've also seen what inequality does to the economy. When you talk about this with people, when you educate people on this, what's the single most important point that you make?
You know what? What's happening right now with the economy is not something that happened overnight. I try and remind people of this every time I share with them that we didn't get to this point overnight. And even what we're experiencing with the pandemic was years in the making. And really, it's been an unequal playing field that we've been on for many generations that has led us to this moment where people are feeling the undue impact and are reeling from the pandemic, both on the health side as well as on the economic side. And so what I try to remind people is that in this country, economic inequality is racialized. We have to deal quite honestly and frankly with the fact that depending on the color of your skin and depending on the trajectory of your life and your family's legacy in this country, you might end up faring more poorly because of the color of your skin. And so what I try and remind folks every time I share is that economic inequalities aren't something that just happen willy-nilly, but it's that they are systemic. They're happening with policies, with practices, with the ways in which our businesses function, but also in the ways in which our systems and governmental systems operate as well, that leave some communities and some citizens more economically disenfranchised compared to others. And in the case that we're speaking about now, we're really talking about the ways in which we are experiencing economic hardship right now in this downturn.
Okay, thank you for walking us through that. Now, back to today, where we learn more about President-elect Joe Biden's picks for his economic team, Cecilia Rouse to lead the Council of Economic Advisors. We know Janet Yellen was chosen for Treasury. How are you viewing these two staff picks so far?
You know what, to be quite honest, the way that we're beginning to look at these staff picks is by looking at what is happening to our communities right now. And what we know is that at this moment, 41% of Black businesses have shuttered since the pandemic. And what that means is that those families, those communities where these companies are embedded in, they are impacted adversely with this downturn and with those companies going out of business. And so I'm looking at the picks, I'm looking at the decision makers that are going to be representing us, and I'm wondering what are they going to do in a very practical way to ensure that those Black business owners and Black community members are supported, are protected, are affirmed in this time of hardship where our communities are being acutely impacted by this pandemic. Mm-hmm. That to me is the most important question. And I think statistics like 41% of Black businesses shuttering should be on the forefront of every lawmaker's mind and everyone who has a hand in the cabinet in terms of contributing to the economy, contributing to making jobs and so on, should be thinking primarily about those communities of color that are being most acutely impacted right now.
Okay, so other possible picks, like former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, possible picks, have not been viewed that well. Are you satisfied with the level of Black representation in posts around the Biden cabinet and who are closest to him as advisors specifically?
I think it's really important that we have diversity in every sphere of our lives, right? If it means in government, if it means in the workplace and beyond, because our communities and our society is truly diverse. So we should see ourselves represented and reflected from the highest offices in the land to the local offices and beyond. However, I think it's important that we remember that representation doesn't always equate with justice. And what our people need right now is real justice. Our communities are reeling from hardship that even predate this current pandemic.
Right.
And what it's going to take in order to undo the harm that's been occurring for many years now is for lawmakers that are principled, that are truly, progressive, that have justice and real equity in mind. And quite honestly, many of us aren't happy with the idea of a pick of a Rahm Emanuel and some others who don't have a track record of really standing, on the side of capital J, justice. It's not just about the symbolic representation, but it's about the substance of their actions.
Well, thank you so much, Opal, for joining us today. We're looking forward to seeing how this administration shapes up.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.